Good morning. We're going to do Unit 7, Lesson 12. All right, on this one, we're going to be constructing the coordinate plane, which means we're actually going to be making our own coordinate planes, putting our own numbers on it. Where in Lesson 11, they already had the numbers and everything put on it. So you have to make reasonable decisions. You know, if your numbers are in the thousands, you don't want to start with your first number after 0 in all directions being 1, because you'd be drawing a whole lot of numbers and your coordinate plane would be very big. All right, so we're going to start out with a warm-up, and it says, let's investigate different ways of creating a coordinate plane. So in English Winter is the title of our warm-up, and it says the following data were collected over one December afternoon in England. So this row is the time afternoon, okay, and then this row is your temperature. All right, so it says which set of axes, which is this means, and you're going to want to add this to your glossary, the x and y axis, okay? But the question says, which set of axes would you choose to represent this data, and explain why? So the three that you have to choose from are over here. Okay, so which one do you feel like would be the best with the information that you have? And I'm going to try to slide this over. Again, you have these numbers, and then you have these three graphs. So I want you to take a minute and decide A, B, or C, which one would be the best and why. Okay, so hopefully looking at those, you decided that B is the best because it represents the data best out of the other two. All right, and the reason being is if you look at A does not have any negative numbers. So no negative. So therefore, A cannot be it because what do you see down here? You see negative numbers. All right, C, it has negative numbers, but what's wrong with our numbers on our axis? Right, the biggest number we have is 8, and then the smallest number we have is -4. So we're into the 40s and the 30s. So this one, the numbers are too big because our teeny tiny little numbers would be all through here and it'd be very, very small. This one spreads it out the most, and it goes to -6 and -2, and then it goes up to +8 and +10. So it meets all the requirements. All right, now for number 2, it says explain why the other two axes did not seem as appropriate as the one you chose. And again, A has no negative numbers, and C, the numbers are too big. So that is your explanation. A, no negative numbers, and C, the numbers are too big. All right, so that is the warm-up to get us thinking about the coordinate plane. So now we're going to move on to our second activity. And our second activity is axis drawing decisions. So we have to decide what's the best way to number our X and Y axis and set up the numbers on it and then plot our points. So for number 1, it says here are 3 sets of coordinates. For each set, draw and label an appropriate pair of X or a pair of axes and then plot the points. So if we're looking at our numbers in this one, we have 1, 2, we have 3, -4, we have -5, -2, and 0, 2.5. So our x and y axis do not have to be very big. All right, so I would just say we're going to put right down in the middle. Okay, we have x here, we have y there. 0 is always in the middle. So we have to go up to our biggest positive number looks like 3. So I mean, we can just do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, now negative, we have -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6. And going down, we have -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. All right, so we've met all our criteria. So now we're going to plot our points. And I'm going to do this in a different color again so that it stands out a little bit. So the first one, we're going to label it as A. This is going to be B, C, and D. So X and Y. So our X is 1. So we should be going to the right 1 because it's a positive. And then remember, we do this first. This always second. Okay, so we're going to go to the right 1. And then we're going to go up 2. And this is point A. All right, the next one is 3, -4. So we're going to go to the right 3 and then down to -4. That's going to be point B. The next one, we have a -5 as our X, so we know we're going to go this way. We're going to go 5 to the left because it's a negative, and then we're going to go down 2 because it's a -2. That's C. And then D is X and Y. Now, what do you notice about the X coordinate here? It's 0, so we're not going anywhere. Then we have a Y coordinate of 2.5. So that's 2 and then 1/2. So this is point D. Okay? Questions? If you have any, this is the time. I'm going to give you a minute or two to write them down so that we can ask during the Zoom session. All right, so now let's look at the next one. So the next numbers, I'm going to fold this over just so you guys can see it a little bit better. The next numbers that we're looking at are 50, 50, 0, 0, -10, -30, -35, and 40. So with these numbers, that should tell us that here's our X, here's our Y. That should tell us that we can increase by 5s or we can increase by 10s. I'm going to do 10s just because we need to make sure that we get to 50. And then our lowest number is -35. So I'm going to do 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. It's going to be a little bit harder. So -10, -20, -30, -40, -50, -10, -20, -30, -40, -50. Okay, same thing. We're going to use a different color so it stands out. Remember, you do your X first, your Y second. So looking at the first one, we have X and Y. So we're going to go to the right 50. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. And then we're going to go up 50. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. And that's going to be point A. This is A, B, C, and then D goes with that one. All right, the next one is 0, 0. So if 0 is in our X and 0 is in our Y, are we going anywhere right or left? No. Are we going anywhere up or down? No. So our next point is just going to be right in the middle, and that's going to be point B. All right, point C, negative 10 is our X, negative 30 is our Y. So we know we're going to go 1 to the left because that's negative 10. And then we're going to go negative 30. So we're going to drop down negative 10, negative 20, negative 30. That's point C. All right, and then the last one, negative 35, and then a positive 40. So now I'm going to jump 10, 20, 30, and then just halfway. And then I got to go up 40 because it's a positive. So 10, 20, 30, 40. And that is point D. All right, so there are two that I have done with you. This last one, we're going to use, we have a little bit different. It's actually an activity that we're going to be doing. So I'm going to have to be sliding back and forth for you guys to see exactly how this one is going to work. Okay? All right, so positively amazing. Based off of the title, obviously we're going to be using a maze. And I'm pretty sure that all of us have done a maze, gone through a maze of some sort. All right, so what you're doing is here's a maze on a coordinate plane. The black point in the center is 0, 0. The side of each grid square is 2 units. So essentially, this is saying, so this is 0, 0. So put a 0, so that's 0. And then these are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Okay? So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Same thing going up. So this is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. And then same thing with going down. So we're going to use a different marker when we go through this. The directions for this, it says enter the above maze at the location marked with a green segment. So this part right here is your green segment. So that's where you're starting, and this is essentially where we want to end. It says draw line segments to show your way through and out of the maze. Label each turning point with a letter. Then list all the letters and write their coordinates. So the first thing that you're doing is, I'm going to leave this here for you, and you are going to essentially go from here to here. That's a point. From here to here, that's a point. So you're going to do that throughout your maze until you get to here. I'm going to label this side for you. So that's -2, -4, -6, -8, -10, -2, -4, -6, -8, -10, -12, and this is -14. So I'm going to give you about 4 minutes to work on this on your own, and then we are going to go ahead and go over this and check to make sure that you did it correctly. Have about 2 minutes left. That may help you a little bit. Got 35 seconds left. Okay, so let's go ahead and go through this. All right, so now we're going to go from point B to here. So it's going to be in the middle, and that's going to be C. So that would be 1 to the right. So it's going to be, C is going to be 1, and then it's 5 up. So it'd be 1 positive, I'm sorry. Yeah, 1 positive 5. All right, then we're going to go down. And it's just a little one to right there. So that's going to be D. And that's still 1 to the right. And now we're in between 2 and 4, so that's going to be 3. All right, the next one we're going to go over to right here. So that's going to be E. And that's going to be 2, 4, 6, 7 because that's in the middle. So 7 to the right and 3 up. The next one is going to be F. We're going to go all the way down here. So we're still going to the right 7. But now we've gone below 0. So it's actually going to be in between -8 and -10. So that's going to be -9. The next one is going to be G. We're going to go, sorry for my crooked line, to there. And that is going to be over to the left 1. So it's going to be -1 and still on that same line. So it's -9. GH is going to be the next one, which is going to go here. So it's still going to be -1. And that's in between -4 and -6. So that's going to be -5. Go over to here. And that's going to be I. And we've gone over in between -4 and -6. So it's going to be -5. And in between -4 and -6. So that's -5. And then the last one is J. And that's going to be through our gate in the middle there. So our X is going to be -5 still, but then it's going to be in between actually it's going to be outside, so past negative 14, so it's going to be negative 15. All right, so that's essentially what the graph should look like, and then your points labeled. Let's go back in real quick and label our points. E, F, G, H, I, and J. All right, so this is number 1. So now, number 2 says choose any 2 points, or turning points, so any 2 corners that share the same line segment. What is the same about their coordinates? So if you look at C and you look at D, what's the same? So C and D, what's the same? Your X coordinate is the same. If you look at D and you look at E, what's the same? Your Y coordinate is the same. If you look at E and F, your X, then you look at F and G, your Y, then you look at G and H, your X, look at H and I, your X, so you see how it goes X, Y, X, Y. So any one of those can be your choice. So I'm just going to pick for number 2, I'm going to pick A and B. And why do you think A and B are the same? What are they doing? They're moving on the same straight line. And this one is going vertically. So A and B, because they are moving on the same vertical line. Alright guys, that is the end of lesson 12. If you have questions about this lesson, please make sure that you write them down, you discuss them during our Zoom chats. Please do not be afraid to ask questions. Alright, have a good day.